All right, so in 18, if we wanted to determine what the center of this circle is here, you guys already have it written in standard form. We're not adding or subtracting anything to that x squared, y squared. So our center would be located at 0, 0. And remember, in standard form, the radius is written as r squared. So if r squared is equal to 16, then you'd have to square root that to give you a radius of 4. So if we were to graph it, graph your center at 0, 0, and then you're going to count 4 in all 4 directions, up, down, left, right. And then do your best to connect it to look like a circle. Over in 19, here we are subtracting a 2 and adding a 3, but remember, we kind of have to think of the center as being the opposite of the signs that you guys see in here. So our center is going to be located at positive 2, negative 3. Always change the signs when we're kind of picking it out from standard form. And then again, this is your radius squared, so the radius would just be 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. So then you're going to count 2 in all 4 directions and do your best to connect your points there. So in this section, we want to write the equation in standard form. If we want to put something in standard form, then we need to know 2 things: the center as well as what the radius is. So in number 20, they're telling you that the center is at negative 2, 1. Again, you're going to change those signs when we put them in standard form. So we're going to say x plus 2 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to your radius squared. Well, the diameter is 6, so if the diameter is equal to 6, then you're going to divide 6 by 2 to give you a radius of 3. And then when we write the radius squared in here, we're going to put 3 squared, which is the equivalent to 9. So this would be your standard form of number 20. In 21, we're converting from general form to standard form. So what I'm going to just go ahead and start doing, you guys have already moved, we already have that constant moved over to the right side of the equation. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of reorder my x's and my y's. So I'm going to put x squared minus 3x plus box, because we're going to make a perfect trinomial right here. And then we're also going to do it for the y. So y squared plus 5y plus box, and I might run out of room, is equal to the 4 that's already over there plus your 2 boxes. Whatever we add to one side of the equation, we have to make sure that we add to the other side of the equation. The number that we're going to put inside this first box is found by taking your b term, dividing it by 2, and squaring it. So you'd have negative 3 over 2 squared. You could leave these as fractions or put them as decimals if you like. I might just leave mine as a fraction over on my right side, and then I might, kind of when I get to my final answer, I'll convert into a decimal. But when you guys square fractions, you're going to square the numerator. So negative 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4, so this is going to become 9 over 4, and you're going to add 9/4 over to both sides. And then same thing over here. If you actually, I'll go ahead and factor out this. This is a perfect square trinomial, so we're going to have a set of parentheses squared, and we're going to have an x inside. A couple ways you guys could remember what number goes here. You can look at the square root of this c term here and use the sign of your b, or kind of what I encourage my students to do is to just look at your b term and divide that by 2. So negative 3 divided by 2 is just negative 3 over 2. Again, if you wanted to put that as a decimal, you could. It would be negative 1.5. Coming over here, we'll go ahead and figure out what needs to go in this box, again by doing 5 divided by 2 squared. If you leave it as a fraction, 5 squared is 25, 2 squared is 4, so you could put 25 over 4, 25 over 4 in each box. I know it's kind of hard to tell. And then we can go ahead and kind of factor what we have here for our y's. So same type of thing. You guys can just look at that b term and divide it by 2 to figure out what number is going to go inside the parentheses with that y. So we're going to put y plus 5 over 2 squared is equal to, and then we'll go ahead and calculate what 4 plus 9 divided by 4 plus 25 divided by 4, and I get 12.5. I get 12.5 here. So this would be the standard form of that general form. As I mentioned, if you wanted to put it in decimal form, you could. So you'd have x minus 1.5 squared plus y plus 2.5 squared is equal to 12.5. Either one would be fine.